Yeah, it's definitely been quite a bit of an off season here
Mhm.
since the end of IEM Katowice. Did
Mhm.
Solar play too many ZVPs? I mostly just remember his game against Maru, if I'm being honest.
Everyone remembers his game against Maru. Oh.
Solar does too. He was streaming the other day and his title was #1 Nucator.
Yeah, no, feels bad, man. Solar, please. But what I'm most interested in before we get into the series is obviously during IM Katowice, Raynar, I don't know if he popularized it, but he really showed off a lurker timing against Protoss, which was incredibly strong. So we'll see if maybe that gets adopted today.
That we shall, as we start off this series here on Lightshade LE. The bottom right-hand corner map, running all the way in the bottom right-hand corner of the map. We have the Blues player coming down from the land of South Korea. He is going to be representing KaiZ Gaming, KZG, the brightest of all the pro gamers at the current moment. He is Sola.
And spawning in the top left hand corner of Lightshade LE, we have the ex-CJ, formerly known as Hush, now representing Team GP, the Red Protoss. It is ViViD.
It is. And you mentioned the lurker timing a little bit earlier on, and I am going to have to agree with you on that one. I mean, I feel like lurker-based compositions was something that a lot of Zerg players were experimenting with at about the start of the year, but it feels like Raynar was, at IEM Katowice, was the first time we saw somebody be able to pull it off very effectively and consistently as well.
Yeah, it was really cool. I don't know if you listened to his interview with Harstem, but he was talking about it.
TLDR.
Yeah, he was talking about it in great detail. He was talking about how Lambo was coaching him, and he owes a lot to Lambo as well for that, because obviously Raynar had the execution, but Lambo would kind of like dictate like what kind of builds or his play style for each game in between series. And yeah, Raynar was talking about how like every single ZvP against Zest, against Stats, like he would whip out like this new build that he was working on with Lambo, with those lurkers, and I would hope that Solar is one to adopt that.
I think it's important you mention Lambo here, because it's important to remember that the #1 Lambo fanboy is Oreo, but #2 is probably Solar.
Yeah, you're not wrong, and that's why I'm curious. I'm curious if Solar is open enough to allow himself to be influenced by those foreign Zerg players, by someone like Lambo, to adjust his playstyle and kind of accept that.
Oh, he definitely is.
Like,
I feel like every other time I look at Solar's Twitter, I'm like, man, he is like the biggest Cyril cheerleader, or the biggest EU Zerg cheerleader.
Yeah, he's very close with the European Zerg players, so I'm really curious to see what he has in store for us here, because we've seen ViViD, we've seen him play Skytoss, we just saw him against Yoga, not necessarily rely on double Stargate play, so you need to be really well prepared if you want to take someone like ViViD out, and already like he's forcing a lot of less mining time.
Yeah, I mean, only killing a single drone at the moment, but pulling, what was that, 7 drones off of mining for a couple of seconds, which I'm trying to do math right now. It's not a good idea. You were just telling me before the stream started, like, don't do math.
That's unrelated to casting, but yes, I did. Yeah. I did say that. Meanwhile, Solar, he did slip a decent amount of lings into the main base, forcing the Oracle back home and forcing it to waste its energy.
Absolutely. Not going to get too many kills over here, but most importantly, he gets a very big scout and is going to prevent this this Oracle from getting too much done. He actually slips a couple more lings in, gets a couple of probe kills, and it gets right out in them.
Exactly. 2 probes do go down. Once again, a lot of lost mining time, tit for tat, right? Solar was able to do the exact same, or even more so to ViViD with only a handful of lings. Incredibly well done.
And now it's ball's kind of in Solar's court at the moment. Not to say that ViViD is at any big major disadvantage, but Solar has all the information he really needs at the moment. He can tech into whatever he wants. So I guess he's able to prevent the harassment coming down.
Definitely, definitely, and I'm really curious to see what he has in store for us. He is working on his lair. It does immediately get scouted. Ooh, and ViViD did just check the gases, confirms that the gases weren't taken at the natural base, and he is committed to going into Glaive Adepts.
Once again, but this feels a lot more committed than his series against Yogurt Light. That's a lot of gateways, 8 of them.
Oh boy.
6 gates is already considered a big commitment to Glaive.
Yeah, exactly. And what's interesting, so pretty often we have Stargate into 8-gate Glaive Adept, and this is when you skip the robo and you just send adepts across the map. We've seen that many times. But this build incorporates the robo, incorporates that War Prism, so he can reinforce across the map.
How does he do it? It's one of those things. Oh, someone dropping?
We're good.
Oh,
or at least the stream is good. No, we're fine. Oh no.
Oh,
there was a little bit of lag. A little bit of lag. Are you good?
Yeah.
Are you good?
I think so.
Okay.
Question mark? It could be me who's lagging, but
yeah.
It's not like I'm dropping frames, so.
Oh, it's someone.
Someone's lagging.
If you want, you can check your ping. Control.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy. But we do have the adepts that are going to be hitting the natural base. They do commit to the shade in between, and ooh, like the roaches are kind of stuck trying to get into the natural. Oh boy, as the adepts do get straight into the main base as well. It looks like, no, they do not commit to the shade. Many drones are already going down here, and there aren't that many roaches to help stop this.
That there really is not. They're starting to get picked off just like so. There is theoretically the critical mass of roaches, but they weren't quite in position there. 8 drones will go down. Because of that War Prism, ViViD's just going to continue to reinforce.
Yeah,
or at least he has the option to.
Exactly. Something that's a little bit surprising to me is that he made a second War Prism as well. So he's just
like this.
Yeah, I don't know what his plan is right now, but he's going toe-to-toe with the roaches. The mass amount of roaches were not here. They were split up, so ViViD is actually trading pretty well, but he needs to do more than this.
He definitely does. I mean, he's getting a queen here and there, but the roaches will be able to push this away. For now, the other War Prism is situated towards the north. There's an Oracle here that actually gets quite a number of drones in that Stasis Ward. Might be able to get more.
Yeah, it may be able to, but GG gets called, and Solar is able to hold against the all-in. The Adepts, they managed to get a decent amount of workers, but nowhere near enough compared to how much was committed to that.
Absolutely not. GG Solar is showing that he's a bit of a different Zerg player than Yoga is, and this worries me, Light, because I feel like this might prime ViViD to say, you know what? What was that build I did on Jagannatha against Dongri? I'm more on Jagannatha again.
Oh boy, here we are. We are on Jagannatha. Is ViViD going to go for that double Stargate mass Void Ray style? Oh boy. Maddox was in the player slot.
Oh. I'd watch that.
I would too. Oh boy.
I don't think I've ever seen Maddox play. I've seen his casts, many of his casts, but I haven't really seen him play. He's a master, so it's pretty good.
Yeah. But of course, we are getting into game number 2 between Solar and ViViD, and again, a really interesting build by ViViD. He was able to execute it, but again, not as well as he would have liked. Just the mass amount of roaches eventually was enough to just push him away and defend on all fronts.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of why we don't see the 8 gates with a robo facility, because it's just so much more dedicated, and if you fail, or if your opponent's able to defend, then well, that's it. But regardless, we are going to continue this best of 3 series on Jagannatha KBBLE. We're here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, spotting all the way in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. we have our blue Zerg player coming down from the land of South Korea. He is going to be representing KaiZ Gaming, KZG. He is the brightest. He is Sola.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Jagannatha LE, we have the South Korean Protoss. He is red. He is representing Team GP. Currently down 0-1. Are we going to see it? Are we going to see the double Stargate play? It is ViViD.
It's cycling like 1,000 times a second in my head right now. I'm having major flashbacks here.
Yo, end up in a catatonic state, just like forever, just seeing Mass Void Ray work against like Hydras. Oh god.
Oh, is it Hydra Infestor?
Yeah, Hydra Infestor, but the Infestors were being used for fungals.
Yeah. I don't think DRG... No, DRG did get a Viper, I believe, that game, but then he also just move commanded it forward, so got sniped.
Yeah, it was just Mass Hydra Infestor. That was what it was. And unfortunately, he pushed into the Protoss, the maxed out Protoss army that also had a mothership, and all that sag defense, and his Infestors were kind of lagging behind his Hydras as well. So like the fight just happened really wonkily, and not everything was together. It was just like the worst possible engagement for DRG. Like, oh my god. So we may see that again.
I'm just saying, the fungal and a parabomb used together, I feel like would have been very, very deadly against a mass void race coming out from ViViD. But for whatever reason, Doggy only got one or the other at a time.
Yeah, we were speaking of, you know, some players being a little bit stubborn, and that's exactly what DRG was in that game. But we'll see. We'll keep an eye on things. So far, ViViD is going for a Stargate opening. Really commit. Really go for more than one. It's kind of risky to do against, again, a player of the caliber of Solar.
I think he will.
Oh boy. Especially on this map, right? We were talking about Solar going for like these early timings, and I feel like on a map like Jagannatha, where we have the speed zones, where the rush distance between the two naturals are, or at least this natural and the unnatural natural, are relatively close by, it can be risky.
Yeah, but saving grace of that is that potentially ViViD won't have to worry about a third base, because Solar, we know him for wanting to end ZvPs early.
Oh boy, oh boy. We do have the first Void Ray on the way. We'll see if he goes for a Twilight Council again, which is what we've been seeing from him against Yoga, or even in game 1 against Solar.
But if he doesn't...
Well, then I'll be happy. I want him to go double Stargate, but we'll see. As ViViD is so far opening up with his Void Ray Oracle again, something that he has been accustomed to throughout the entire day today. It looks like some of the adepts do get picked off. One does manage to escape. Solar is going across the map with his Lings, but this time he shouldn't be able to slip in. Oh, the adept's low. No.
It does. Just barely out of position that Adept was, and now these Lings are primed for scouting, for taking out quite a number of probes as well. These Adepts are just nowhere near. The Shade does complete, so to help out a little bit, actually be able to clear out quite a number of these Zerglings. But how many more probe kills can Solar get? At least one!
Oh boy, and the Ling is still alive. It tried to get back into the main base. It does not scout the Twilight Council, so ViViD is able to keep his tech hidden for now, but we do see that it is not double Stargate.
That it is not. So ViViD just pulling out, I guess, a build he wants to practice? Question mark?
Yeah, maybe it's just something that he's a lot more comfortable with. Again, a lot can change in a week, and it just seems like this is his go-to for now. Could also be like an experience thing that maybe, you know, against these higher tier Zerg players, he struggles going with that double Stargate. Oh my god, the Link slip in again!
And they are getting, or potentially going to be able to get quite a number more probes here. Not if this Warpin has anything to say about that. Pretty good surrounding one of the Adepts, but I tell you what, like 2 Adepts, It's more than one adept.
Yeah, that it is. And we've got 3 adepts, which is insane. 2 in the natural, 1 at the third base. Drones are going down left and right. Meanwhile, when it comes to the probes, they are all safe and sound. The Lings did get cleaned up.
Well, efficiency is definitely the name of the game for ViViD at the moment, both in the offense as well as the defense. Going for the Glaives once again, and we'll see how many gateways he gets this time. Right now, having half the amount of the previous game, which I kind of like. It's a lot less committed. He can still get his 8 drone kills and then call it a day.
Yeah.
Start working on his mid game.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit concerned. Like he's doing it again, where he's got the Warp Prism, he's got a decent amount of gateways, he's gonna be going across the map with the depths, but like there are already roaches, and ViViD sees the roaches with his Oracle, and more being pumped out. It's gonna be so much more difficult to really find damage with these adepts. It may not even be worth committing to an attack.
The multi-prong needs to hit from just about every single direction to be able to get enough drone damage, I think, for this to be worth it. And the Oracle does go down. And manages to get a little bit of a revelation here, but don't think that's quite going to be enough. Most importantly, ViViD knows that Solar is coming his way and wants to end the game early.
Yeah, as soon as that Oracle went down, immediately a couple of shield batteries did start at the third base. None at the natural, which is concerning because, again, the natural is where Solar wants to hit with his mass army. He wants to end the game and go for the throats. And ViViD, what does he have? He has a handful of adepts, a single Immortal, a single Void Ray. Oh, no.
Might not exactly be enough. The Zerglings managed to surround everything on the ground, including the Immortal. Almost looked like they surrounded the Void Ray, but of course that is impossible to do. GG's call, and Solar showing that he is a very different player from Yoga and from DRG. And with that, I think my PTSD is cured.
There you have it. GG gets called. Solar does 2-0 his opponent. And again, this is what we expected from his playstyle, like especially on Jagannatha. Like Solar, he would just send it across the map. He was working on that creep highway with his queens, just went with Roach Ravager, Massling, and ViViD was not ready for it.
He definitely was not, and that is why Solar is going to be the player to advance right now to face Beyond.